All right, today we're diving into the incredible story of a creature that has basically defied time itself. We're talking about a living, breathing, prehistoric relic that's still thriving in our world today. So let me just start with a question for you. What if a dinosaur was still alive? And I don't mean in a museum or as a fossil, I mean swimming in our rivers right now. And what if I told you you could find this prehistoric survivor on a dinner plate? I know, it sounds like science fiction, but this is the incredible reality of the tropical gar. Okay, so let's get right into it. The tropical gar, known down in southeastern Mexico as the Pejelagarto, is a genuine holdover from the age of dinosaurs. I mean, this is a true living fossil that has watched countless species rise and fall. What's truly mind-bending is just how little this fish has changed. Its genetic blueprint was essentially locked in place about 100 million years ago. So while the world was transforming around it, continents were drifting, mammals were rising, the gar's DNA just stayed incredibly stable. This makes it a priceless biological time capsule, giving scientists a direct window into the genetics of the Cretaceous period. So what exactly is a living fossil? Well, it's a species that basically hit an evolutionary sweet spot and just stayed there. And the tropical gar is one of the ultimate examples, with one of the slowest rates of genetic change ever recorded in nature. It is, quite literally, a swimming piece of prehistory. But how did it pull this off? I mean, how did it survive the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs and all the other extinction events since then? Well, it came equipped with an absolutely extraordinary biological survival kit. You could say the gar's survival really comes down to three key evolutionary superpowers: its incredible armor, a unique breathing system, and a deadly secret it hides to protect its young. First up, its defense. The gar is covered in what are called ganoid scales. Now, these aren't like your typical fish scales. Think of them more like interlocking plates of bone that are coated in ganoine, a substance that's a lot like tooth enamel. It's essentially a natural coat of chainmail, which makes it almost impossible for predators to get through. Next, its personal scuba tank. You see, the gar is a facultative air breather. It has gills, of course, but its swim bladder is also modified to act like a primitive lung. This lets it just go up to the surface and gulp air. That is a massive advantage that lets it thrive in stagnant, low-oxygen waters where other fish just wouldn't stand a chance. And finally, there's the lethal defense. While its meat is a delicacy, the gar's eggs are a completely different story. They contain a potent poison called an ichthyotoxin, which makes them deadly to most predators, and that includes us. It's a brilliant evolutionary strategy to make sure the next generation survives. But the gar's story isn't just about ancient survival, it's also deeply intertwined with our own. Humans have had a long and really fascinating relationship with this fish, using nearly every single part of it for centuries. And this relationship has evolved over time. Indigenous civilizations use the gar's incredibly tough scales as tools and weapons. I mean, literally as arrowheads. Today, that same resilience is valued in a totally different way, as artisans polish the scales into beautiful, durable jewelry. But its most significant role, that's gotta be in the kitchen. In regions like Tabasco, Mexico, the Pejelagarto is a cultural and culinary icon. It's the star of countless traditional dishes, from being roasted over an open flame to being featured in tamales, empanadas, and a classic local sauce called chirmol. Now, you'd probably assume that wild-caught would be considered the gold standard, but a fascinating study back in 2015 turned that whole idea on its head. It found that when it comes to taste and quality, consumers actually prefer gar that has been farm-raised. This discovery was a total game-changer. Yeah, this preference for the farmed product really paved the way for modern aquaculture, which is now the key to the gar's future. It offers a way to meet that culinary demand while protecting the wild populations at the same time. And just how successful is this farming? Incredibly so. Using precise hormonal treatments to get them to spawn, scientists can achieve a hatching efficiency of 98%. 98%! That just shows you how well we've come to understand this ancient creature's biology. The farming process itself is this precise scientific pipeline. It all starts with larviculture, which is nurturing the fish through their very fragile first month of life. Then comes a 2-month pre-fattening stage in specialized cages to get them ready for the final push. And last is the 6 to 8 month grow-out period where they finally reach their ideal market size. But there was one major hurdle. Gar are naturally aggressive predators. And in captivity, that leads to cannibalism. Not exactly good for business. The solution, though, is remarkably elegant. Scientists discovered that by adding tryptophan to their feed, yep, the same stuff that makes you sleepy after a big turkey dinner, they could almost completely eliminate this aggressive behavior. All of this brings us to the most important question of all. How do we make sure this survivor's story continues? This is where its ancient resilience meets our modern responsibility. Officially, the tropical gar is listed as a species of least concern for extinction. But that label can be a bit misleading. While the species itself is incredibly resilient, its natural habitats, the wetlands and slow-moving rivers it calls home, are under constant threat from pollution and development. And this really gets to the heart of the matter. The best way to protect wild gar is to perfect farmed gar. Sustainable aquaculture acts as a kind of biological buffer. It satisfies the market demand, and that dramatically reduces the pressure on the wild populations. When you really think about it, this is a fish that has survived almost everything the planet could throw at it for over 100 million years. It outlasted the dinosaurs. It endured catastrophic global change. The only real question left in its epic saga is, can it survive us?